Hello, my name is Christy Clark-Pujara, and I am the chair of the Department of African American Studies. I teach an array of courses in African American history. I specialized before the Civil War, so I'm what historians call an early Americanist. I'm very interested in the British and French colonial periods as well as the early American Republic. I specialize in Northern slavery and slavery in the Midwest. So my first book was about how the business of slavery shaped the institution of slavery, the experience of slavery, and Black freedom in Rhode Island from the colonial period through the American Revolution. I am currently working on a book project about Wisconsin, looking at how Africans and African Americans experienced life in Wisconsin from the 1720s in the French colonial period, through the British period, through the American period, and finally through the American Civil War. I teach an introductory course titled Introduction to African American History, and that looks at the experiences of Africans and African Americans from the slave trade through the modern civil rights movement. I also teach upper level courses such as Slavery and Capitalism, U.S. History of Slavery and Emancipation, U.S. Women's History of Slavery, and I also teach intermediate courses like African Americans in the Age of Revolution. Some of the core values that I have for both myself and my students is student success. For me, it's really important that students know how to do well in my course. So I spend a lot of time on my syllabus. I spend a lot of time on Canvas. I want students to know what they need to do to be successful in my course. I invite students to office hours as well as, meeting with me outside of office hours. I don't work well from home, so I'm on campus 4 or 5 days a week, and I always invite students to come sit and talk to me about any issues or problems that they're having in the class or anything they just want to know further about. And so I'm very much interested in student success. I feel a great responsibility to students as this department was founded by students. We exist because students demanded that we exist. And that is something that is ever front of mind for me. And so I'm trying to do everything I can to make sure that students in my course have a good experience, that they feel like they are heard, and that their opinions are respected, and that they learn really how to help me curate a better class. We're discussing difficult topics, and for many students, this is the first time that you've ever been asked to talk about such contentious issues like race and slavery and sexism and those kind of things, and how we do that in a way where everyone feels like they're respected and they're heard. And so one of the first things I do is talk about how are we going to be respectful to each other? What is it that you need from me? And what is it that I expect from you? This book project that I've been working on for several years now really came from students. I do a whole song and dance about how important history is and how personal it is, and how it's not about memorizing names and dates, but understanding who we are. It's the lens in which we see the world, how we understand ourselves. And I had students ask me why I wasn't specifically talking about Wisconsin. And that kind of took me aback, and I said, you know what, you're right. And so I went to the Historical Society and ended up falling in love with a new project, which is Black People on the Wisconsin Frontier.